What is this game? 1988, 1989? What? In the year of 2000X, a super robot named Mega Man was created. Dr. Light created Mega Man to stop the evil desires of Dr. Wily. However, after his defeat, Dr. Wily created 8 of his own robots to counter Mega Man. And here it is, the iconic opening, panning up the building, getting up to the top as that music builds up. Oh, it's building! It's building! There he is! Okay, that was that was a bit ridiculous of me. What's up, guys? It's Fruity, and welcome to Mega Man 2. This game is brilliant. I love it. It's fan-frickin-tastic. This is the most famous Mega Man game, and for good reason, because it is bloody brilliant. It basically is a lot like the first Mega Man, but just improves on it in pretty much every conceivable way from an objective design point. Pretty much everything has just been enhanced from the first game. Now, as you can see here, we have got 2 difficulties here, normal and difficult. Now, this is the overseas release of the game, not the original Japanese version. In the original Japanese version, there wasn't a difficulty select. In fact, you were, by default, set to difficult. The normal mode is actually an easier version of the game that was created for the overseas release after complaints that the first Mega Man was too difficult. Yeah, too many peasant scrubs complaining. So really, there's only one true difficulty to play this game on, and that is the original difficulty. I know this says normal, but in fact this is the normal difficulty. You get the idea. There we go. Puts his helmet on, ready for action. So here we are. We got the classic start and password screens. Yeah, this is actually new to Mega Man 2, another improvement they added. The first game didn't have a password system, so you had to beat the whole game in one sitting. This one does have a password system where you can put in various different red pixel ball things here, and obviously that's not a real password, so it's just gonna kick me back here again. Oh, password error here, exactly. But yeah, you can get your old passwords and have a grand old time doing that. Anyway, so explaining what I'm going to be doing for this challenge run, I'm going to be doing atomic fire only, just like I did rolling cutter only for the first game. For this game, I will be doing atomic fire only, which is Heatman's weapon. Here we are on the stage select screen. You'll see much has changed from the first Mega Man. No longer are we bogged down in the mediocrity of only 6 robot masters. Now we have a grand old selection of 8 robots to choose from, all their stages to take on, and the boss will be at the end to defeat all them 8 robot masters. That will be the tradition from now on. Every Mega Man game from this point on has 8 robot masters. This was a pioneer game in that sense of that tradition. And anyways, yep, I decided to choose Heatman's weapon as the weapon to beat the whole game using in this challenge run, just because it seemed like one of the most versatile weapons. It's useful against a fair few enemies and bosses, so I wouldn't have to resort to using the Mega Buster all the time, because too many enemies or too many bosses are immune to it. And it's also a weapon I don't use that very much, or not many people use very much, because it runs out of ammo very quickly. It's actually the first chargeable weapon in the Mega Man series. There is no other chargeable weapon until Mega Man 4, when the Mega Buster itself becomes chargeable. And in that regard, yeah, it runs out of ammo really quickly when you charge it, but by using the magic of Game Genie codes, I have officially given myself infinite ammo, because I mean, I'm just gonna run out of ammo immediately if I don't use infinite ammo, so I don't think you guys would blame me for quote-unquote cheating in that regard. Explaining a bit of my history of this game, I played this game for the first time on September 30th, 2014, same day as Mega Man 1. I got both of them at the same time on the old Wii U Virtual Console. And I played Mega Man 1 first, but I was more interested in Mega Man 2, because that was the one I'd heard everyone loved so much. And so I tried both of them. I couldn't beat any of the bosses in Mega Man 1, although Cut Man was the first robot master I got to, but I gave Mega Man 2 a try. And Metal Man was the first robot master I officially beat in the Mega Man series. I jumped on in, beat him. Turns out he's the fan favorite robot master to take on first, which was quite a coincidence, or not really. He is pretty easy, well, on normal mode anyway, when you do double damage to all the bosses. That's the main thing that makes normal mode easier, but also enemies drop a lot more power-ups on normal mode as well. I did play Crash Man stage a lot though before I beat Metal Man. I got to Crash Man a fair few times. He was the first Robot Master I actually got to in this game. Heat Man stage was actually the first one I tried, I remember. Reminiscing about the good old days. But never mind, we've got to put all that out of our head now. Now we are officially going to take down the man of heat himself and gather up the atomic fire. Here we go. There he is. Zippo Lighter Man, as I like to call him. And the classic stage start music returns from the first game, slightly remixed this time. So here we are on Heatman stage, and here is our pause menu. It's more or less the same as from the first game, except it has 2 pages now. Now, the problem with this game is that unlike the first game, you can't replay Robot Master stages after beating them. So as a result of that, I can't actually have Heatman's weapon going into Heatman's stage. So instead, I'm going to have a pacifist run through the stage, where I try and shoot as few of these old Mega Buster shots as possible, as you can see here, which actually works out quite nicely, because Heatman stage is a pretty easy one to get through without having to kill any enemies. So, yeah, as you can see, classic fire stage, we've got lava. I like to call this the lava tube stage. Even the background looks a bit curved like a tube. These enemies here, they're called prop tops, you can just sort of run past them, they're not much of a threat. These enemies here, they're called tellies. I'll have to take a hit from that one since I can't shoot him. Again, it's a pacifist run. Yeah, there can only ever be 3 tellies on screen at once. As you can see, once 3 are out, no more come out. So that's the limit, and sometimes you can exploit that to your advantage. I remember the first time I played this stage, I couldn't even do this basic platforming here. I just kept dying over and over again. The good old days. So these guys here, what are they even called again? I can't remember. Everyone calls them Roombas these days because this is what they look like. Oh yeah, and I just scrolled that one off screen. You can do that. It's a good old trick. And as we drop down here into the next screen, you'll see our friends are back. The disappearing, reappearing blocks of the Iceman, Elecman days. Yes, this stage is well known for having these disappearing blocks, also known as Yoku blocks. The patterns starting off here aren't too bad, as you can see. This stage really doesn't get too bad until you get to a certain part of the stage, which is quite infamous for its difficulty among people who aren't incredibly experienced with the game. It's not actually that hard once you've become accustomed to it. Yep, at this part we actually have to use these Yoku blocks to get over these little pillars here, and it generally progresses in difficulty. This one here is on quite an awkward cycle, in all honesty. Look at that one, had to jump at just the right time. These walls here, I will shoot them as a demonstration. They deflect shots, which implies you can destroy them, which is true. With Crash Man's weapon, you can destroy those walls and make that disappearing block area a little bit easier for yourself. So that enemy, I always feel sorry for that enemy. He's so pointless, because he can just jump up here immediately, and then off he goes into the wild blue yonder. Goodbye, enemy. I'll miss you. So now we come to the infamous part of the stage, the disappearing block puzzle from hell. If it's your first time playing this game, it's going to take you numerous minutes to learn this puzzle, and you'll probably die a few times once you get over the lava here. But the pattern's not actually too bad once you learn it. There's just a few parts where you have to jump straight up and land on a block. The rest is just straight up, moving horizontal. Don't get that life back there. That is a death trap. You will not be able to escape if you go for that life. And there we go, the disappearing block puzzle from hell, as I like to call it. It is not actually that hard, but it is still from hell. That is very evilly designed there, game devs, very evilly designed. This enemy, if you're in the air when he lands, he will just keep jumping. He'll never fire at you. If you're on the ground when he lands, though, he will fire an annoying to dodge spray shot at you. I guess I might as well show it off. So if I let him see, there's a spray shot. Not actually that hard to dodge, I guess. Oh, what? I was in the air then. That was silly. Anyway, there we go. And with that, we're through to Heatman. So another new addition in this game, the Dr. Wily symbol, Dr. W, that's above all the boss gates in this game that wasn't in the first game. Also, the boss gates have been reduced from double doors down to a single door. Not sure why they made that particular change, but it means that once you go through the boss door, it actually visibly closes behind you like that. And another tradition this game sets up, empty boss corridors. Of course, in the previous game, there was very long boss corridors with enemies in them. In this game, they're just little breather spaces where there is nothing for you to worry about. And once again, that will become the norm for the remaining games in the Mega Man series. Mega Man 1 is a bit of an oddball in many different ways. This game definitely sets up what the rest of the series is mostly about, although this game does have a fair bit in common with the first game that other games don't, and, you know, maybe I'll talk about that a bit more once we get to Mega Man 3 and onwards. But anyway, let's head in here, and we are now fighting Heatman. Yes, he is designed like a Zippo lighter, in case you haven't noticed. Very cartoony, very Mega Man-y design, to be honest. This is sort of the norm for Mega Man, really, taking these outlandish designs. So Heatman's pattern here is quite simple. He just fires out those pillars there, and pretty much just run past them, shoot him. You can only shoot him one at a time. Once you've hit him once, he'll actually turn invulnerable, and he'll just deflect shots. I'll show that off now. See, he just deflects shots. So yeah, you can just hit him once at a time. Pretty much the only Robot Master in the series, actually, that you can only hit one shot at a time. But he takes 2 damage for each shot, so the battle doesn't last too long. How long it takes for him to dash across the screen is actually entirely random, but hey, whatever. A little bit of a dull boss fight, in my humble opinion, but hey, still pretty fun in the end. So there we go. First Robot Master down. Heatman has officially been defeated. And we get the also iconic victory fanfare there that is used in a lot of Mega Man games from now on. And the new weapon get screen. We didn't get a weapon get screen in the first game. Get equipped with Atomic Fire. This is such a cool sounding name. So it's so over the top. Like it's a freaking nuclear bomb. And for that we also get a message from Dr. Light. What could this be all about? Item 1 completed. Dun dun dun! Get your weapons ready. Also, this text is incredibly slow moving. 1. Get equipped with Item 1. So yeah, for defeating Heatman, not only do we get the Atomic Fire, but we also get Item 1. There are 3 items in this game, which you get for defeating Heatman, Airman, and Flashman, and they are basically utility items that allow you to get to places you wouldn't otherwise be able to. Item 1 is like a bit of a floating propeller platform. It is actually quite useful, a very worthy reward for beating Heatman's stage, which is generally considered one of the tougher ones for first-time players. And there you go, that's an example of what a password looks like. 9 red balls in that 5x5 grid. So you would have to write that down and all, you know, back in the day. Yeah, we just go back to stage select now, and Heatman's portrait has been blacked out. Now, if I try selecting it again, nothing happens. Again, you cannot replay stages in Mega Man 2, unlike the first game. That is another change which becomes sort of the norm. You can start revisiting stages in Mega Man 4 onwards, but you can't actually refight the boss at the end. Once the boss is dead, the boss is dead. So, yeah. So, last time I went through the bosses in clockwise order, which was also numerical order. This time, the numerical order of the Robot Masters doesn't follow any, like, proper pattern like clockwise. It's pretty much just random. So, it starts with Metal Man, who's Robot Master number 9, because if you remember, the 6 Robot Masters in the first game were numbers 3 through 8, because Mega Man and Roll are 1 and 2, of course. So Metal Man is number 9, and Woodman is number 16, and then there's everyone else in between. Heatman is actually number 15, so he's the penultimate one of this set, but of course I had to take him on first to get the old Atomic Fire. So from now on, I'm just going to go in the numerical order and go with the classic Metal Man. Everyone loves to start with Metal Man because his weapon is one of the most powerful weapons in the entire series. It's insanely overpowered. But yeah, here we go. A lot of people point out Metal Man looks a bit like a doctor because of the circular thing on his head. It's like that little doctor's thing. I'm not even sure what that's for. Reflecting disc? It's actually supposed to be a saw blade because that's Metal Man's thing. He shoots saw blades. And here we are on Metal Man stage. Really cool looking aesthetic, although the colors are a bit a lot of brown. Brown's not a great color, but whatever, the green looks nice. And as you can see, we have conveyor belts, so we're in an all-industrial factory. I love how much motion there is in the background. There's a lot of static backgrounds in Mega Man 1, and it's really nice to have this fluid background. That item I just picked up there, that is an E-Tank, another new item here in Mega Man 2. So, here we go. I need to equip Atomic Fire now. This is Atomic Fire only. But here we go, this E-Tank, whenever you are low on health, you can just pause your game and use your E-Tank and it will refill your health to full. And you can have up to 4 E-Tanks in this game. It's extremely useful. That's essentially 4 spare life bars that you can use at your disposal once you have them. It makes this game a fair bit easier than the first game. It gives you a lot more opportunity to take down bosses. Stuff like the 4 Robot Master boss rush at the end of Mega Man 1 wouldn't be nearly as hard if there was E-Tanks in this game. So yeah, a lot of stuff is made much easier in this game with the introduction of E-Tanks. As you can see, the menu also changes colors depending on what stage you're in. As you can see, the menu here is brown and green, just like the stages. I love those little touches, those little attention to detail, which I don't believe was in Mega Man 1, or at least I don't think it was. Anyway, we have these things here called presses. They just come down and you just run past them. Ooh, I should be equipping Atomic Fire here. Again, I'm sort of in a bit of a pacifist mindset right now, not trying to shoot too much, but I might as well show off what the Atomic Fire does if I'm going to be beating this whole game primarily using it. So it just shoots out a little fireball, pretty weak, not particularly useful. However, if you hold down the button, you can shoot out a semi-charged shot like that, which does quite a lot of damage. And if you hold down the button for an extended period of time, blammo! Look at how powerful that is. That is one powerful shot, and that would eat about a third of my ammo if I didn't have the Infinite Weapons Game Genie code on. So there you go, look at that epic weapon just tearing through these enemies. These enemies, they're called moles, I believe. They come up sort of at random. It's sort of semi-random where they come up in the ceilings and floor. They never come up directly beneath you or above you. It's always in front of you. But they're still quite tricky to dodge at times. As you can see, I screwed that up a bit. And also a word of advice for these conveyor belts. You can jump along them to go significantly faster, because if you see here, running is very slow, but if I jump, I can go quite a bit faster. So this bit. Now, here is where I get to show off item 1. So here it is, our first utility item for beating Heatman. It shoots out these little platforms. You can have 3 on screen at the same time. Very useful for getting to some places. You can see I got up here to get that 1-up. Very, very useful. Very nice to have. I guess a bit of a motivator for taking on Heatman first, but at the same time, Heatman is a very tough stage because of the disappearing block puzzle from hell, or at least it's a very first stage for first-time players. I definitely actually wouldn't recommend taking down Heatman first under normal circumstances. But yeah, we're actually getting pretty far in Heatman stage now. Here we get introduced to a new enemy, these clown guys on cogs. I always think these guys look really funny, and again, I love how much motion there is in their character designs. They just look so funny. Like, there's these little pink clowns on this great big cog. It just looks hilarious. One of the annoying things I will mention about Metal Man stage for me is the fact that most of the conveyor belts in the stage move backwards, which, yeah, I just find, you know, takes away a little bit, you know, makes things a bit slower, a bit annoying, but at least you get to jump a fair bit. Oh, I didn't know Atomic Fire takes these guys down in one hit. Usually, once you hit these guys, they'll send their little metal tubings out at you. Yeah, like that. I guess if you shoot them with a charged or semi-charged shot, they don't do that. That's interesting. And here we have another E-Tank. Metal Man stage does indeed have 2 E-Tanks. It's pretty awesome. That's kind of a good reason, again, to come here first. However, you can't get this E-Tank without dying unless you have a utility to help you get out of here. Luckily, I do. I have conveniently got the item 1 to help me get out of there alive. Otherwise, that would have been impossible, and I would have had to kill myself. So, more Roombas here. Not too hard, really. Not too hard at all. You can get that Atomic Fire out. And with that, the stage is over. Yeah, pretty short, pretty simple stage overall, but definitely a memorable and iconic one. A lot of this game is very iconic to the Mega Man series because it's the best-selling and most famous Mega Man game. But yeah, Dr. Wily symbol up there, and we head in here to the boss corridor. I really like this boss corridor, how it's like suspended over the factory below. Again, just love how much motion there is in the background. Even if it's just simple, like, couple of frames animation in each of those bits of machinery down there, it just looks really nice. But anyway, going here into the boss fight. Oh my god, there's a conveyor belt against Metal Man. So, if you just don't do anything for the first couple of seconds, Metal Man will actually not do anything. But after a little while, he'll start throwing his metal blades at you like that. They're not too hard to dodge. He shoots 2 or 3 generally at a time. And the conveyor belt on the floor here changes directions after about 10 seconds, which can make things a bit more tricky, but overall it's a pretty simple boss fight, and since you do twice as much damage to him in a difficult mode, then yeah, he's a pretty solid pick for first. Now let's try and aim this. There we go. Oh my goodness, that does not do much damage. That's only 4 damage for a fully charged shot. I don't like this. My odds aren't looking quite as great as they were before. I just need to focus here. Focus on not dying. Okay, let's go. And, oh, I missed. Yeah, I guess I've just got to rely on him not jumping too high. Either that or really getting up in his face to try and hit him. Yeah, so he's jumping too high, but as long as I can keep dodging his shots, I should be fine. Yeah, I just have to wait for him to do the short hops like that. You might have noticed that the background actually flashes for like a single frame whenever the conveyor belt changes directions. You can actually pause the game during that frame and everything's all like whited out. It looks pretty funny, but it's quite difficult to time it, pausing during that. But anyway, there we go. That was actually pretty easy, really, wasn't it? Again, I picked Atomic Fire because I knew it worked against a lot of bosses, as in not many bosses are immune to it, because it's pretty dull if a lot of bosses are immune to the weapon, because then I have to resort to using the Mega Buster, and that's not really in the spirit of doing these special weapons challenges. But anyway, with that, we get equipped with the Metal Blade, the most overpowered weapon that has ever been spawned in the Mega Man series. Basically, it has a huge amount of ammo, it can shoot in all different directions, it works on like 90% of enemies, and like 3 or 4 bosses have some degree of weakness to it. It's pretty famous for how powerful it is, and again is the main reason why a lot of people like to take down Metal Man first. But he's not that hard of a boss either, so that would be the other reason. But yeah, with that, we've taken down 2 Robot Masters. I've explained a lot of my opinions already on this game, which I'm loving. I feel like I'm blabbing a lot, but I mean, I've only got a certain amount of time to get out all I want to say about this game, so it's the way it's going to have to be, I suppose. Oh yeah, and we got the Dr. Wily symbol here in the middle, but of course I can't go in there yet. Need to defeat the 8 Robot Masters next. But anyway, as Robot Master, or as Metal Man is Robot Master number 009, or just number 9. Airman is number 10, so we will be taking on his stage next time, first thing. I'm definitely going to looking forward to that. I didn't mention it before, and I guess I might as well bring it up now, but musically speaking, Heatman's theme, it's a bit short, a little dull. It's pretty catchy, but it's got good merit to it. But I definitely say it's one of the weakest themes of the game. Metal Man's theme is awesome, if you're listening to that. If I wasn't talking over it too much, or if you just know the theme, Metal Man's theme is awesome, extremely catchy, and just a whole ton of fun. Definitely one of the best themes in the game, in my humble opinion. Definitely makes up for the stage, which, yeah, can be a little bit dull, to be frank. Again, as I said, a lot of conveyor belts moving backwards can make it pretty slow. But hey, it's still a pretty fun stage overall. I think I prefer Heatman's just a little bit. It's got a good progression of difficulty with the Yoku blocks. I'd say Metal Man is a funner boss to fight, though, since Heatman is just a little bit repetitive and simple, whereas Metal Man's got a fair bit of action going for him there. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next time then when we take down Airman, Atomic Fire only. This is Fruity, signing off.